Hello and welcome to the Maine Question podcast from the University of Maine. I'm your host, Ron Lindsay. Today on our show, in this episode, we're going to talk about making stuff, or more specifically, manufacturing. It's really been part of Maine since the very beginning, if you think about shipbuilding, shoes, textiles, and 1,000 other products that have been built in Maine over the years. And it's a real vital part of the Maine economy since the beginning and to this day. We'll give you some numbers to sort of back that up. According to the Maine Office of Business Development, right now there's about 1,850 manufacturing businesses in Maine, and they employ about 57,000 workers. That accounts for about 12% of the state's wages, which is $3.6 billion. By the way, the U.S. average is 10%, and it contributes about $6.2 billion to the Maine economy. So we're going to talk about manufacturing, more specifically, advanced manufacturing. You're going to hear a new term, Industry 4.0. We'll talk about what that means in just a minute. But basically, if you add in robots, automation, AI, and all kinds of other technologies, that is what advanced manufacturing looks like these days. So let's turn to our guests and let them introduce themselves and tell us a little bit about their title and what part they play in this whole manufacturing sphere that we have in the state of Maine. John, let's start with you.
Yeah, thanks, Ron. Yeah, my name's John Belding, Director of the Advanced Manufacturing Center here at the University of Maine. I've been in that role since 2008. Before that, I graduated from the University of Maine in mechanical engineering and then worked in the automotive industry right here locally in high-volume manufacturing, which is a great first start, and then jumped into the role here at the AMC. I'm really excited about what the AMC is doing these days, and we'll talk more about that today, but really helping industry move the needle from Industry 2.0, 3.0 into Industry 4.0 and automation. So looking forward to the discussion.
Great. Brad?
Yeah, my name is Brad Denholm. I'm the Associate Director of Workforce Development at the Advanced Manufacturing Center. I've been with the center for a little over 10 years at this point. Got my undergrad in electrical engineering from the University of Maine. And I manage the AMC's workforce development initiatives, whether that's K through 12 programming, undergrad, graduate integration, or helping support incumbent workforce in the state.
And you're the chief of all the robots. Okay.
I do love robots.
Okay, that's good to know.
Hi, I'm Peter Birch. I'm a junior here at the University of Maine. I'm currently employed at GE Vernova as a supply chain intern in Bangor.
Great. You, Ronnie?
Yep, I'm Ryan Lindsay. I'm operations engineer at a company called Ntension, where we build tension fabric structures for the trade industry.
Great. All right. Well, let's dig into it. Let's set the scene. What is the history? What are some of the mileposts for manufacturing in Maine? Does it go back to the beginning, as we alluded to, with logging and shipbuilding and shoes and all kinds of other things? When was the peak? If hopefully maybe there's another peak coming, but.
Yeah, Maine's manufacturing history is long. We were really founded on natural resources. So, the breadbasket of Maine, right? So the Great Northern Woods, there was, a lot of people were working in those woods and getting the wood out of the woods and getting them down to the coast to start with shipbuilding. So really using the rivers and streams and water power to produce power for the mills. So that was, kind of coming into the 19th century. So you had paper, you had textiles, you had shipbuilding were really kind of the big ones. Coming up into the 20th century, the 1950s, 1970s was probably peak employment in manufacturing. We had a lot of paper mills, a lot of textile, a lot of shoemaking, a lot of shipbuilding, and a great time in manufacturing. And then, with the decline was probably, after the 70s, once NAFTA opened up and a lot of foreign competition started opening up. A lot of those, especially the shoe industry, textile industry, started closing down, even the paper industry, now that people aren't using paper as much. And so, we're kind of a renaissance now of manufacturing, and it's gone more to defense and widget making, also, a lot of specialty industries in Maine, a lot of small industries that do very unique products. And you'll see some stuff being made in Maine that's made nowhere else in the world, which is really unique. And we're always, hoping that we can really help Maine industry take that step. And Brad will talk a little bit more about, Industry 1.0, 2.0, 3.0, and 4.0, but really helping Maine get from, 2.5 to 3 up to Industry 4.0 and see how we can help do that.
Now, you guys are engineers, but we are going to talk a little bit about history. So let's look at that. There's been several eras in Maine manufacturing. I want to make sure I get this right. So 1.0 around the 1780s. So from what I saw, steam power and weaving were part of that. 2.0 added electricity and mass production. 3.0 happened in the 60s, automation and computers, like you talked about. And now we're seeing the term Industry 4.0 being used. What does that bring to the table? Brad, maybe you can talk about that.
Yeah, so Industry 4.0 is, like the name suggests, a sort of industrial revolution. You mentioned 1.0, 2.0, 3.0, so steam, electricity, and then really the semiconductor devices, which allow programmable devices, is where 3.0 came in. 4.0 is a revolution that enables sort of smart integration of a variety of technologies. So whether that's AI, smart sensors, IIoT, or the industrial Internet of Things, robotics. And what Industry 4.0 enables is real-time data analytics, predictive analytics, and just optimization of the holistic business processes. So it's more of an integration between your what's called OT, or operational technology, your manufacturing floor, and your IT systems, your information technology systems. And sort of that convergence of those worlds is where a lot of optimization can happen.
Faster, more efficient, all those things, right?
Yeah, and really even having a data stream all the way from the supply base all the way through to the customer as well. Kind of one of the famous ones is, if you can go online and order a very custom pair of sneakers now, and that data stream goes from the customer, goes all the way back to the manufacturing and tells them exactly what to make, and then that automatically goes all the way down to the supply base to supply what that information is all the way through the whole supply chain. And so
no human is touching that
some cases
decision tree.
Some cases, absolutely. So,
right.
And maybe Ryan and could talk about, I don't know if there's anything in your industry where you're doing some of that too, but.
Yeah, maybe if Ryan, maybe you could talk about sort of from what your end of this looks like. You were a student here, obviously, and then now you're in the industry. So let's define some terms. What defines manufacturing? What doesn't? And how is advanced manufacturing different from your vantage point?
We use like aluminum extrusion, and where the company started, it's an 18-year-old company, so it's a fairly young company.
Right.
And we're growing now. So how I got my start in over there was they had purchased some CNC machines that had nobody to operate it. So that's where I got my foot in the door. And since then, I've hired engineers. So that's when our manufacturing kind of really started. Before that, it was everything done by hand. Take measures, marking on that, cutting by hand with skill saws, more like a carpenter type based.
Right.
So now we're streamlining that more. And more recently, we have purchased some cobots to do some welding. And so...
Did you say cobots?
Yes.
All right, what is that? What is a cobot?
I can speak to that. So a cobot is something that's been around for about 10 years or so, and it stands for collaborative robot. So typically industrial robots are high-speed, high-precision machines that are dangerous if they're not secured and guarded effectively. Collaborative robots is sort of a transition or a change in thought process that allows this industrial technology to work in and around humans safely.
Right. So the robots in Terminator would be uncooperative robots.
Correct.
Exactly.
Yep.
Yeah. So that and then what is a CNC machine? I think not a lot of people know what that is. What is that?
So a CNC machine is basically like a lathe or a mill. Anything that can like read G code, where you would program it, and then it'd follow that program to do. Even like a 3D printer will read the code. So anything that could be controlled by numerical.
So cutting out aluminum, that kind of thing.
That would be, yes.
Okay. Yeah, laser cutting, all the above.
Right. Peter, from your perspective as a student, what drew you to this field and this industry? Is this something that you're thinking, hey, I want to go check this out and do this for a living?
Yeah, in high school, I bought a project car. I started working on it, started working with my hands, and I was like, this is really cool. And I love making my own parts, like just even like welding some sheet metal together to get something working. And we had a couple of 3D printers in my high school too. That kind of got me started. But once I got to here at the University of Maine, I saw and like used a lathe for the first time, and that really got me hooked on manufacturing, of like working with my hands, making physical products, and seeing like a CAD model and a drawing go to a physical part is really what got me into manufacturing here.
Right. So from the paper to the real thing.
Yeah, making that happen is really fun process.
Okay. So maybe for you guys, how would you describe the manufacturing space in Maine right now? What is the trajectory? Is it on the rise? And what is Maine particularly known for or good at, some subset of manufacturing?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's a ton of manufacturing in the state right now. And I think, one of the big ones is, some of the defense stuff where you have Pratt & Whitney making jet engine parts. You have Bath Iron Works making ships.
Pulp and paper is still a big sector. Defense, aerospace, medical devices, renewable energies. I don't know if I mentioned aerospace, but there's a big push based on the location of Maine and sort of the aerospace race.
And then a lot of small companies that are making parts for people, all over the U.S. We are a lot of small machine shops, a lot of big machine shops that are making parts and widgets that get shipped all over the United States.
How big potentially will it be, or is it, to add AI, machine learning, automation, robots? I mean, are we talking what percentage of more output or efficiency are we taking a huge leap forward in that regard?
I would say it's a sort of a transformational initiative. The inclusion of these sort of advanced technologies, AI, smart sensors, edge computing, robotics, what it allows us to do is optimize productivity in terms of quality. Quality is a big one. By having highly repeatable machines doing your manufacturing, it removes a lot of that human error. It also enables sort of longer shifts. So we think about something like lights out manufacturing or 24/7 production. Robots don't take breaks. They don't need bathroom breaks. They don't need to take lunch. So you can just run for longer hours overall.
Yep.
The added benefit is you can do more with less people. That's not a dig at hiring people and employing people, not at all. The goal is to transition folks from doing repeatable manual labor tasks into more creative problem-solving tasks that are generally more creative, better for their general mindset at work, and oftentimes result in higher wages and better living.
Things robots can't do.
Sorry.
Right.
And we can't really, frankly, we can't find enough people to work in manufacturing currently within the states.
Yeah. Well, we're going to get to that workforce piece in a little bit here. But let's talk more about robots. I mean, for you guys, did you have robots or play with robots as a kid? I mean, and is it sort of that sort of led you to this field as now you're an adult, but you still get to sort of play with some cool toys?
Definitely like playing with cool toys, no doubt. I had toys as a kid. The robots really was driven by our customer. We needed repeatability for welding, and that's why we headed towards the cobots to be able to do some of our welding, because we make a lot of parts. Once you get that in-house and start playing with it, you actually get to see what its capabilities of. And so now I'm planning to put a lot more in, even for like welding prep and cleaning after, deburring, all kinds of stuff. So we have huge plans to add a lot of robots.
Yeah.
In turn, I mean, our workforce is good in Maine and talented, but it's also aging for us and our group. And so we want a lot easier life for them. So we want to have those guys become an operator. So it's a lot easier throughout the day, because our industry runs basically from October until springtime, and then summertime is our easy time, we'll say. So we work hard, long hours. So if we can take that hard work and put it into a robot, we're a lot better off for our whole team members.
Peter, I mean, have you ever gotten over the fascination as a kid of playing with some of these things?
Yeah, absolutely not. A couple weeks ago, I actually took Brad's class to learn how to program universal robotics, like cobots, and I am hooked now on how awesome that is. It's so easy to program now. It's basically like an iPad. You can enter commands, and it's no like physical typing or coding. It's all block based, and it's extremely easy. And I thought it was so awesome, even in like a 2-hour class, to see what I'm capable of programming this robot for. It's awesome.
So let's, right now, we're going to do something that we haven't done on this show. Is we're going to cut away to a little demonstration of what robots add to the mix. I had a chance to visit with Brad in the new robot loft, right? Is that what they're calling it?
Yeah, we're calling it the bot loft.
Okay.
It sort of plays on robot, build, optimize, train.
Right. So we're going to talk about that, but we're going to take a quick trip to the AMC and get a little bit of a demonstration of some robots in action. And for those that were just listening audio, we'll provide some context so you know what you're listening to. So let's do that now.
So this is an example of an industrial robot, more particularly a collaborative industrial robot. It's a 6-axis articulated arm, so it has 6 independent joints. That gives it a lot of degrees of freedom and ability to move in and around space. What I have this doing right now is a fairly simple pick and place application, but what's kind of neat is we have conveyor tracking capabilities. So as you'll notice, the block, as it's traveling along the conveyor, the robot is actually tracking that position in real time, which is pretty cool. These robots, they're used for any number of activities. We like to use sort of at least the 3 Ds, the dull, dirty, dangerous types of tasks, as well as anything that's repetitive. The nice thing about robots, once you've programmed them to do a particular task, as you'll notice, this task will run for as long as I let it. And it'll do the same thing over and over and over again. And it doesn't complain about it.
For those that are just listening audio only, this robot is picking up objects, putting them on a conveyor belt, and then placing them back. So a repetitive, like you call, pick and place motion.
Mm-hmm. That's exactly what this would be called, yeah.
All right, and we are back, Brad. Thanks for that quick tour. That was awesome. Let's talk about the AMC, Advanced Manufacturing Center at the university. Been here for, 20, 25 years, something like that?
Yeah, it was really started in 2002 with a state bond for the taxpayers of Maine, saying we really want a advanced manufacturing center to help industry in the state of Maine.
And I know for many companies, you guys are sort of the research arm for companies that don't have the wherewithal to do that. So let's talk about the robotics in the robotics lab. What part will the AMC play in helping Maine businesses implement some of these new technologies?
Do you want to talk to the AMC overall?
Yeah, so the AMC really has 2 arms. One is the automation side, so the project side. So we're really helping companies look at better ways to do manufacturing, whether that's putting in a robot, integrating a robot, putting in new automation, doing prototyping, doing molding, doing some 3D printing, metal 3D printing. We have that whole project side, and then Brad is really leading up the workforce development side, which is going to be factory authorized training for 4 different robotics vendors right out of the gate, and hopefully more down the road. We've heard a lot from companies that they're interested in new manufacturing technology, but they don't have the workforce that's trained for it. And so how do we as the university and AMC really help Maine industry get the knowledge and get new technologies within their facility to really improve efficiency and make more products?
Yeah. Brad, talk about the bot loft and what that facility, how many robots are going to be in there, and sort of what is its, I know we touched on a little bit, but what is the primary function for the bot loft?
Yeah. So I could break it into sort of 2 primary categories. Ryan spoke earlier about how they've adopted some collaborative robots, and now that they've had the chance to play with it and get hands-on, they're looking to adopt that technology more, right? So that's the first thing, is just supporting technology adoption, somewhere where folks can come and learn the technology, get their hands on, and remove those barriers to entry. The second, we've touched on it already, is aging workforce, lack of skilled workforce. The primary purpose of the bot loft is a training center for incumbent workforce. So that is folks that are working in industry or are potentially displaced or looking to career change. It also includes undergraduate and graduate students like Peter, as well as sort of the K through 12 space, where we're trying to pipeline students and get them excited about manufacturing to show them that it's no longer your dull, dirty, dangerous, repeatable jobs, right? It's clean, it's advanced, it's fun and enjoyable and creative. John mentioned we are setting ourselves up as a factory authorized training site for not only Maine, but really the New England region. So the brands that we're partnering with, you have to fly sort of to Detroit or Texas to get factory authorized training. What we're doing at the AMC is setting up the University of Maine system as not only a theoretical robotics hub, but also an applied industrial robotics training hub for the region. So that's one component. We're also engaging in a variety of micro-credential based offerings that support everything else besides the robots, right? You can't put a robot into a factory and expect it to do work on its own. It needs the support of electricity, pneumatics, motors, smart sensors, wiring, mechanical drives. There's a whole variety of other supporting technologies that we're also going to be supporting trainees on.
All right. Let's talk a little bit more about workforce. Ryan, you mentioned it briefly. I mean, you have enough people. You talked about aging workforce. I mean, do you find it a struggle to find enough people, or are you guys doing okay?
We're doing okay, but it is definitely a struggle,
Right.
To find right people, and especially we're very demanding during our busy season as well. So
Right.
yeah, it takes a certain person to join our team, but we do have a good group. Yeah,
Right.
and actually we have like 6 people that are going to sign up to take the robot class. So
Oh, great.
got quite a few people very, very interested
Yeah.
in doing that, which is good to see.
Okay. Now, Peter, you're here already, but if you were in high school and you saw these robots you could play with, would that make you more interested in pursuing engineering at the University of Maine? And do you have plans to stick around in Maine and apply what you've learned in this whole area and be part of the upcoming workforce?
Yeah, if I think back to high school, if I saw those robots, I think I would have been even more interested in engineering and manufacturing. That just would have like given me the extra push probably. I believe I'm going to try and stay in Maine and try to contribute to the Maine manufacturing. I'm already working at GE Vernova in Bangor as a supply chain intern and a process improvement intern. So I think I would like to stay and kind of continue that development. Because a lot of my peers and stuff do not necessarily want to go into manufacturing. A lot want to go in design. So I want to try and be different and try to go for manufacturing.
And when you look out there, I mean, what year are you?
I'm a junior right now.
I mean, do you see good job prospects as a result of some of the groundwork being laid?
Absolutely. I think I'm going to have a pretty good advantage just from, I worked at the Advanced Manufacturing Center last year, plus taking the robotics class and also working as an intern at GE Vernova. I think I'll be pretty set. I've got a lot of really great experiences through the university. I mean, that's...
For you guys, it's got to be music to your ears. You want young, talented people to stay in Maine and do some of what they're learning in your guys' shop.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, having students that are working in our center, we currently have 13 students that are working there over the summer, and we are getting them involved directly with Maine companies. So working directly for a Maine company, they're, talking to the owners, they're helping basically manufacture those projects. They're doing the design work, they're doing the build work. They'll actually go on site once the project's done and go help integrate that, product or process with that company. So they're getting firsthand knowledge and work directly with Maine companies. And the goal is to keep them here in Maine so that they know what's out there. They know what companies they could go work for. They see, what's happening in the Maine ecosystem of manufacturing. So it gives them a huge advantage of those company owners are saying, hey, this intern did a great job for us through the AMC. Let's go ahead and hire them. And we've had a lot of students that have gotten hired on, and Ryan can attest to that, from companies that we've worked with directly.
How busy is the AMC's dance card? I mean, do you have all you can do to meet the demand for people coming in the door, or is there more space to work with more companies?
It's pretty busy right now, but we are increasing our staff. So we've increased our staff, and so hopefully that'll open up some more opportunities for more companies to work with. So we're always looking to talk to people and interested in talking with people about projects. So
now, I know we touched on this earlier, but is the niche for Maine the sweet spot, sort of precision, small companies manufacturing, highly precision? We're not going to have a steel mill in Maine or something like that. So sort of those niche products, is that sort of the sweet spot?
Yeah, and the niche products, and I think Ryan can attest to this too, and it is that niche product that's easy to ship. So we're a long ways away from a lot of groups. So having something that's lighter, easier to ship, and we can get it out to our markets easier. But having those niche things where we have, Maine has a great workforce and really dedicated people that like, really conscientious about how they do their operations and how they work to make those quality products. And we see that all the time.
Now, any of you guys can comment on this, but how good are the jobs in manufacturing? Is there fulfilling careers to go into? Is the pay good? Is there opportunity for advancement?
I mean, I can speak for our company. There's advancement. Just our newest engineer is going to get advanced right now after being there for a year. We offer some good opportunities, and it is that way in Maine. I mean, I graduated in 2019 from MET and alumni from AMC, and even at that time, that I could see that there was some very, very good opportunities. It's very hard to make a decision on which company to go with.
Really? So you had multiple offers?
Yes, over 5.
Wow.
Yeah, it was very difficult to decide because, it was a good opportunity here.
Yeah. Peter, you like hearing that, I bet.
Absolutely, yeah. It makes me very excited and fun.
Yeah. Brad,
I think one of the things to keep in mind is we're talking a lot about how there's new technology in manufacturing and it's advanced manufacturing. One of the challenges with that is technology is changing at such a rapid pace that sort of continued education and continuous learning from an engineer's perspective is becoming incredibly important to stay up to date on what's coming out. So that's a big reason for the program that we're developing at the AMC, right? Is to support folks in that capacity.
The micro-credential thing you talked about, I mean, you can learn a skill in a short amount of time and be certified to go into the workforce and use it?
Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah, and some of the numbers we use, if somebody's making minimum wage, $30,000 to $40,000 a year, going through the credentialing process, going through our workforce development process. Some of those operators, now that they have robot experience, Industry 4.0 experience, could be making over $70,000 a year after they go through that program. So that's a big advantage to somebody to come get those credentials and really make a huge wage increase, to their family, and being able to take that jump within a short amount of time. It could be within a couple of years.
What does it take? What's an average time span to get a micro-credential in some skill? Is it weeks?
Yes, it's so the way our micro-credentials are structured is really there's only a week-long period of in-person training at the AMC. There is a sort of asynchronous component ahead of time, and there's a experiential component sort of on-the-job training at the end. Right. So there's a 3-level process. We're estimating probably 4 to 5 months for micro-credential, including that 3 months of experiential learning. So a month of asynchronous, you'll find a month where you can come for the 1-week course, and then 3 months on-the-job training to get the credential.
So we ask some variation of this question as we begin to wrap up these episodes, and it's always looking ahead. So what can we expect for what's over the horizon in the next 5 to 10 years? When does Industry 5.0 start? Or just what do you see when you look out in that horizon that might be coming down the pike and be either daunting, challenging, exciting, whatever you'd like to comment on? So if everybody can take a crack at that. John?
Yeah, obviously it's all the talk right now, but I think AI is going to be a big part of that. And I think when AI plays into what we're doing is really helping, vision systems and data systems that can take that AI data and really apply that to robotics or other processes. So really making better alignments, better pick and place units, better, systems where, the operator doesn't need to intercept or things like that, where the AI basically takes care of being able to look at just a bin full of parts and then tell the robot, okay, go grab that part and sort that one into that bin because that has a little bit different, widget on it. But so there's a lot of technology around that vision system and AI that is really directing robots. So it may sound a little scary to people, hopefully not Terminator style, but just being able to take a lot of the programming back out of not being able to need to do as much programming. Obviously, there's AI behind the scenes that's doing that programming piece.
And just a comment on I was always fascinated by the Terminator series, but you think about some of those movies, the first one's 40 years old. How much they they really knew what was coming in some aspects. So that's pretty cool. Brad, your thoughts?
Yeah, from my point of view, I think the next 5 to 10 years are going to be incredibly exciting. I don't think it's a surprise that there's a strong effort to start reshoring manufacturing in general, and leveraging tools like AI and OT-IT convergence allows businesses to compete in a global market, right? Without implementing those technologies and getting the gains from that optimization, they just won't be able to compete in today's markets. So it's a very exciting time ahead with a lot of change coming.
So just on that piece, competing globally, we're always going to be behind the 8 ball because other countries can get away with paying a lot less for labor. This sort of helps close that gap a little bit?
Yes, absolutely. Yep. I think it's kind of a little bit of a misconception about sort of lower labor costs. A lot of countries in the world are really advanced with automation, robotics, and manufacturing technologies, right? So I think the U.S. has, over the last 40, 50 years, probably pushed off some of those lower level manufacturing tasks to other countries, but it's really, really important for supply chain stability and U.S. security to make sure that know-how and technology comes back to the States.
Right. I want to give Peter the last word, but Ryan, your thoughts, 5 to 10 years from now, what do you think you'll see? What, for your company or bigger picture?
Yeah. definitely excited about the future. More recently, we've been invited down to a company that, like some of our machines, that brand, they've set up a smart manufacturing center. So we've been invited down to take a look at that. So I'm assuming it's all integrated, some AI in there as well. But in a couple months, we're going down there and visiting that. So that's definitely some of the future that actually the AMC's training along those same lines. So it's good time.
That's great. Peter, what do you hope to be doing in 5 or 10 years?
I'm hoping to play with a lot of new cool toys. I've seen a lot of cool stuff online, a lot of new cool technologies to play with. I know at GE we're getting a lot of cool new machines, new technology that can be applied. And I'm really excited to get to just kind of interact with these new machines and play with this new technology. It's really cool.
Well, thank you all so much for coming in. This is exciting. Can't wait to see what happens.
Yeah, thanks. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks so much for joining us. You can find all of our episodes on Apple and Google Podcasts, Spotify, UMaine's YouTube page, as well as the University of Maine website. Questions or comments? Send them along to Maine Question at maine.edu. This is Ron Lisnett. We'll catch you next time on the Maine Question.